Good evening, everyone, and welcome along to Online Darts, the Live Lounge. Here we are for another Live Lounge. It's Wednesday, the 25th, fitting them in as and when we can because of the absolutely packed schedule. Of course, I'm Phill Bars, joined by always by Jarleth and Jack. Gentlemen, good evening. Have we just about recovered from the weekend yet?
No. I've had a day off work today and I'm still just, nah. Just nah.
It's been a mad few days. Let's put it that way, Phill. I you know, actually, I had a nap earlier on today, and that was a very, very crucial thing to do to try and survive, try to get through the show this evening, because it has just been one of those mad weeks where everything has just felt like a blur. Do you know what? During those first 2 days, Phill, of the Grand Slam, where we were having 32 games over those 2 days, they were just mental, those group stages. Jesus wept.
Yes, it was just absolutely bonkers, but we wouldn't change it for the world, gentlemen. Some absolute fantastic arrows, just absolutely brilliant darts from the Winter Series straight in to the Slam, and we've got the players around the corner, and of course the big news, the World Championships is on, and we will talk about that as well. So much to fit in to tonight's show, guys. It's just unbelievable action and darting drama.
Certainly is, and we're so appreciative of everybody that comes back to us. Obviously, we've had record number of listenership over the week on the Grand Slam Daily, so we really do appreciate you guys coming back to us throughout the entire week. Listen to three Muppets talk darts for a good hour or so every time. It's great to see so many people as well coming back to us for the Live Lounge. Appreciate it's not a Monday like we normally would do, but we thought we'd have to get one in before the Players' Championship finals and before the last big tournament before, as you say, the World Championships.
Yeah, look, it's just in the dress rehearsal is coming up. Obviously, didn't go according to plan for some players at the Grand Slam, so they've got sort of like one opportunity left to get it right, so to speak. But yeah, just absolutely unbelievable. Before we get into the meat of the show, everyone, we're just sharing the links on social media. So make sure you're sharing them for us wherever you are. We're just letting you know that we are live as always. Before we go into the chat room, good evening, everyone. Hi, Daniel. Hi, Kieran. Charlie, as always. P. Danny, hello, mate. Hope you're well. Lewis, good. Joe Williams is here. Cheers, mate. Thank you very much. Hope you are all good and dandy. Any questions, throw them in there. And, of course, we will come to them. If we don't get to them straight away, we'll shoehorn them in the relevant points of the show as always. So, guys, I suppose there's only one place to start, really. And we're not going to recap the whole Slam because we did it on the dailies and everything like that, and if we did that, we would be here till about 2 a.m. no doubt. But
to be fair, we were here till 2 a.m. most days. To be fair, we were there till 2 a.m. most days recording. It felt like because of all the drama that we had.
Right, so we'll recap the semi-finals. So we'll go from there before we get into the darting drama of the final. Of course, semi-final.
I'll just say very quickly, actually, I will stress this now. The quarterfinals, I don't know what anybody else thinks of this, obviously, in the chat room, but the quarterfinals in particular, I thought was possibly the best day of darts I've seen in particular since, I'm going to say, day 4 of the match play last year when we were there doing, we had 3 games go to extra legs. We had 1 game where Merv obviously beat Gary, and then obviously in those 3 games that went to extra legs, Glenn Durham played Marco Van Gogh in a classic and does a 1. So, Smith came through an extra leg against Hart, but it was Wade against Sudovic was a sudden death leg, and we had 121 out of 124 legs played on Sunday. That is mental.
Do you want to know why? Noble was back.
Yeah, well, hashtag Noble, we know this.
He had the Euros off, and it was all good.
Euro Tour, aren't they?
Yeah, we're going to have to call him the Noble.
Oh, dear.
But we are going to go straight into semi-final number 1. We can if I can sort my graphics out. It's been a while since we've done this. Right, I knew we'd get there in the end, everyone. just a few
Lewis
comments. It's been a while.
Lewis was deliberately doing that to you, I think, in my opinion. I think Lewis was deliberately doing
that. So, semi-final number 1, Jose de Sousa against Simon Whitlock. And boy, it didn't disappoint. Simon Whitlock at the blocks like an absolute greyhound. However, the Duracell battery soon ran out at the first bend as the special one reeled him in and soon went past him, gentlemen.
Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head straight away from this game. Whitlock got out to a flying start, and I was quite fearful for Jose at that point. He didn't look like he'd settled at all. And after the form that Whitlock had carried from the night before and his 180 hitting, if he got ahead, you just fancied him to stay there. But the special one just decided to be a bit special as he does and reeled it back in again.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I just think that Simon Whitlock had given everything the night before and there was just nothing left to give. If I'm being honest, that's not taking anything away from Jose because he was brilliant. But the Wizard just went to the tank and there was nothing there, unfortunately. But that starts at the top level.
The curse of MVG strikes again.
Well, yeah, this has been quite a talking point on social media because it always used to be the curse of Taylor, that you beat Taylor and you don't win the tournament. And that's what's happening at the moment here as well. You beat MVG and you've got nothing left in the next games to go and do it again and again and again.
Well, the thing is with Whitlock is obviously he hit 21 80s in the previous game and he started off like an utter... Let's say Whitlock hit 21 80s in the game previously against MVG, and then obviously off the back of that, you've got the fact that I think he started the semi-final with 6 180s, something like that. I think there were 6 maximums in the first 5 legs. And you're thinking, Christ, there's going to be some scoring here. But I think the middle part of the game when de Sousa managed to turn it round, he managed to get 4 straight legs when he was 6-4 down to take an 8-6 lead, which was brilliant. And then the 2 checkouts of 99 and then the 1-2-1 straight off the back of that to move 14-11 in front there, I thought was where the game was pretty much won. But full credit once again to Simon Whitlock, because once again, he's pushing himself back into that conversation for the top 16. He is currently $8,500 outside the top 16. And if he has another great weekend at the Players, he could be back in the top 16 for the Worlds. Mental.
Yeah, look, if he gets over round 1, we'll come on to that. Then I think he's got every chance of having a good weekend. But we'll come on to semi-final number 2. And, of course, it was that man. It was James Wade doing what James Wade does, coming back from oblivion to beat Dimitri van den Bergh. And, look, I don't know, he just does it time and time again. He looks beaten, but he finds a way to hit, not just win games, but just do the right things at the right time, as Michael Van Gogh would say. It will pluck an 82 or a 1-2-1 just when he really needs it. And we'll let you go with this one, Gob, because he's your boy in the semi-final.
He is, but I'm going to be completely honest. Like, there were times in this match where even me, who is firmly in James Wade camp 99% of the time, was fearful. It just looked like Dimitri had done enough. That opening session had been enough to get ahead and just stay there. It didn't look like there was anything magic waiting to happen. James had missed a couple of chances that you'd normally expect him to have a crack at if you were going to build the momentum up. I think he missed the double 12 for a 101 as the game went on. And at 14-all, I thought, yes, got him. And then he opened up with abysmal scoring, and I was like, do you know what? You went through all that work, you stayed with him through the entire matchup, only to go and slip then. And how Dimmy didn't put him away, I don't know, but quite glad he didn't.
All I'll say on this is the fact that I'll just say really quickly the fact that I thought, Gob, and Phil, we can come off the back of this as well, that I thought that the first 5 legs, I genuinely thought that was the match. It was such a poor start on the doubles from Wadey because I think he went 4-0 down at one stage. He managed to get a 4-1 lead, I think it was actually, in all seriousness, towards the end of the session, to Dimmy. And I thought that was it because there was 12 straight holds of throw. And you're thinking, oh, okay, Dimmy's just going to not necessarily cruise it. And he's 14-9 up potentially if he doesn't miss that dart. So he's 13-9 up, has a chance to go 14-9 up. And then Wadey just fought back. Dimmy going for the bull as well when he did necessarily have to just to be a show pony. I'll be brutally honest at that point. You didn't need to go for it. Set it up. Get it out of the way. You're 15-13. You got a chance at winning the game. You don't take it, and then you missed the ball as well for the match. If you miss your chances against James Wade, he's going to punish you. And under that pressure, to produce a leg that he did, to produce leaving, I think it was 86, was it 76 after 9? I think of I can't remember exactly what it was. Yeah, he left 76 after 9 and then found double 4 for the 12th darter. That takes some stones.
100%. Look, he just does what he does. But there is a flaw in his game, and we'll come on to that in a minute because it was evident in the final. But we did have a final, and this little beauty was up for grabs, the Eric Bristow Trophy, and there was going to be a new name on it. Beforehand, we all thought James was going to get the job done. Excuse me, no, I'm not having you. You only said Jose to go against us because you didn't want to go all three. Let's be honest.
No, I didn't. I said my heart in my head, and my heart ruled it again. And I said James, and I said Jose de Sousa will beat James Wade 16-13. I almost got the score right as well, by the way.
But
I'm not having this. Not having this. No.
We've also got to get a no context turn in there wherever we can. Look.
Yes.
In all honesty, the flaw in James Wade's game was there in the final. He just doesn't score heavy enough when big scorers go to town. Like, when you look at the 140s, they just weren't there. Everyone talks about 180s. 180s unnecessarily aren't a big thing. If you can hit a cluster of 140s, that's where your big scores and your 11 and 12 darters come from. But if someone's having an off day, James Wade will beat them. But the scoring power just isn't there to compete with the very best when they're on. Am I being a little harsh there or not?
No, I think you're bang on with him. It is an issue, and he's made a career out of being there to punish when those mistakes happen. You look at record averages, record performances, and James, despite heavy in the game, it never appears on that sort of list. He just does not score heavy enough. He doesn't hit the 180s. He doesn't get that extra dart per leg that just keeps him in touch distance or just keeps him far enough away that means he's not under pressure. You always felt like in that final he was a dart behind Jose de Sousa. And he just was powerless to it because Jose's 180 hitting was so relentless. It just kept him at arm's distance throughout when he needed it.
But you look at the stats here, right? And you know me, I'm a big fan of the stats. Big fan of the stats. James Wade hit 41 ton pluses in that game, and he hit 20 exactly 140s. The difference was the 180 hitting. He only hit 2. Jose hit 15. That tells you where it is. That tells you just how important it is. Because 140s were hit by Jose, 17 of them were hit by Jose. He then, then he got 15 180s. There's no, because he's not that big a scorer, as you say, Phill, then there's that point of the fact that you do feel like you're a dart behind. But I'll be honest with you, Jose, to me, in that final, he grew into the game. And then as soon as he had that poor start when he went the double breakdown, and he got that first leg on the board, and you just felt at that moment in time, this is going to be the moment. This is going to be the moment where Jose decides to kick on now. And he did. And he played superb darts. In particular, I think it was when it was 8-7 after the third session. He then goes and gets a 4-1 lead in the mini session, goes and takes a 12-8 lead after 20 legs. To do that, when you hit the breaker throw first up, and as well, Wadey's hit a 161 at that stage. That's brilliant. But then, and I feel I don't want to steal your thunder, but I'll let you go and talk about the checkout to win the title because that was unreal.
Absolute stones. He doesn't need to do the big exhibition shots, but as he said, he knew before it left his hand it was going in, and that's quite a thing to say from a professional sportsman. That he said, I think I'm paraphrasing here, but it was like I almost cried before I threw the dart because I knew it was going in. That's a hell of a place to be in when you know your game is that good, that you know that it's going to go. And it was literally plumb in the middle of double 19. It's a horror double as well. And there was no fear. And I think what helped him, it's also his first final. There's no scarring. Once you lose finals, there is mental scarring there. But he hasn't got any. Fresh as a daisy. There was no fear. And it was like, yes, I am winning this title. And just the smile on his face said it all to me. And that's what makes it all worthwhile in any sport, not just darts.
Completely agree. Summed it up perfectly, mate. It was just a great moment for him, a great moment for the sport with a new winner. Someone that I did back to get to the final, so I'm going to cling on to that, even though it was James that he beat in the final. But yeah, it was a great tournament, a great run, and I'll tell you what, it teased things up for the rest of this year very, very nicely.
To be fair, the only flaw in his game, and it will cost him at some point, is the calculator. Right, don't get me wrong. Everyone's saying don't change and whatever. And look, yes, it's entertaining him going all these ways, but at some point in a big game, it will cost him. It might not be this week, it might not be next week, but at some point, it will happen.
What I love the fact as well is the fact that he checked out 126. Well, he checked out 136 when he wanted the 126 in the semi-final. He then goes the wrong way on it again. Goes 760, and then he goes single 16 to make sure he gets a shot at the ball. Don't go that way, for Christ's sake. Don't do that.
I'll tell you what, there's a great comment.
We keep saying about his counting
on the chat.
well. Phill Taylor couldn't
go on,
count. Phill Taylor couldn't
No,
count.
but he knew what ways to go. Yeah, Phill used to leave bogey numbers, but he knew which way to go on checkouts.
Yeah.
Where Jose leaves bogey numbers and doesn't know what way to go. There's a little bit of a flaw in the armour there. At least.
Not a bad set of footstep to be following him, though, is it? What a comparison that is.
You're going to suggest he's going to win 16 more titles?
No, he's too old for that.
Yeah, there's a great comment in the YouTube chat from P. Danny. I want to see a double 19 hitting contest between Jose and Whitlock.
Please.
Whitlock could win that. Whitlock is the most ridiculous double hitter I've ever seen. He defies logic.
Honestly,
preferred doubles.
I don't think he's got a preferred double. Is he?
Do you remember the Grand Prix that year where he started on double 13?
Yeah. Yeah, it was just like, boss, we're having some of this, or we're having some of that. But look, Jose de Sousa, a worthy champion, and across the 9 days, he was the best player consistently. Across, I don't think anyone can really argue across the whole tournament. The best player won this, I think. Let us know in the comments what you think. But guys, do you agree?
No, not really.
Before the final, James Wade was the best player in the tournament. He hadn't lost a game.
I disagree.
His finishing percentage was higher than anybody else's. All the stats before the final meant that he was the better player than Jose. If you're in the final, you have to be that much better. And then it came crashing down. That was the best I've seen James Wade in a long time.
I'll be honest. I thought the best player in the tournament wasn't even in the final. With the way that he'd been playing, Dimitri van den Bergh, I thought was the best player in the tournament.
The group stages, I'll give you, but we didn't see the group stages in the knockouts.
Well, he beat Clayton quite comfortably 10-3.
Because he went back to...
Hang on, we saw... But he beat Clayton quite comfortably, right? Let's be honest about it. He was a 10-3 victory. You can't not beat someone comfortably. You know, that's just a fact. If you win 10-3, then you know, averaging what was he averaging? He was averaging 103.6. You know, that is difficult to try to not do so. Nathan Aspel against Dimi van der Bergh, that was a scrap. It wasn't a great game to witness, but Dimi did a job in the end. Dimi then, I don't know whether he took his foot off the gas. I don't think he did, but I think he couldn't quite get over the line against Wadey. And I think he thought he had the game pretty much wrapped up at 13-9. I certainly did. I thought we were going to have an early night for once, having to record about 10 o'clock. Happy days. But no, of course we don't. That's how the Grand Slam works. But I honestly, genuinely believe that Dimi van der Bergh was the best player in that tournament. And look, that's not taking anything away from Jose. That's not taking away from Wadey. That's not taking away from anybody else. But I think that overall, Dimi averaged over 100 in his first 4 games. He averaged 97 in his second game. In the second game of the knockout stages. And in the last game, he averaged 96. So, 96.8. So it's not exactly a massive drop-off. We just expected a lot more from Dimi after he'd hit the record average for the bloody tournament.
Yes, but there was a reason for that drop-off, wasn't there, Jar?
That's the issue. Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about, Phil.
Completely different Dimitri mentality turned. He went defensive, he went negative. And he started trying to win games not based on his ability.
I don't know what you're talking about, boys. Got no idea. No, I don't know what you're talking about. Never see that.
Before we wrap up the slam, we'll come on to. There's lots and lots of questions in the chat, and we appreciate them. We will talk about the Premier League.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say. I've never seen the chat room so buzzing about the P word. Word, it's just all over the place at the moment because of what's happened.
Yes, don't worry. We'll sort the players out, and then we will go on it for the free-for-all that is the greatest show in darts. 16 weeks on the road. We will talk about it. But there is a new winner in the PDC, and it is the special one, Jose de Sousa. Right, moving on to this weekend. It is the final chance for players to get it right before the Worlds. We should be in Minehead. We're not. It's the Ricoh Arena. It is the Ladbrokes.
Don't. Seriously, don't remind me about the fact that we should be in Minehead. It's again, anybody who's in the chats, right? Anybody who's in the chat room that has never been to Minehead, or people that have been to Minehead and anything like that, I promise you, it is the best 2 weekends of the year, Minehead. Gob, am I talking sense here? Phil, but both of you actually, am I talking sense here?
For
the 2 best weekends of the year.
There's a special bond that darts fans seem to have with the Winter Gardens in Blackpool, and as fantastic as Blackpool is, we absolutely love the event. It's one for you get a more sophisticated crowd, should we say. I genuinely think the Minehead Weekenders are 2 of the greatest weekends in the calendar. They are superb. Just the entertainment that comes with it. It's an all-out darts weekend rather than go to an event and come back again. It's just magnificent.
I disagree. The best weekend in darts is the last weekend of the match play, Friday, Saturday, Sunday in Blackpool. I won't have a bad word said against it.
Now, here's the problem with that. I've got no danger with you saying that because we all know what happens in Blackpool on a Friday night and a Saturday night, in particular that final weekend. It is amazing. But there is something so special about everybody congregating on site in Minehead, and it is just one of the best weekends. And if you've never done one and you're thinking about doing one, please go and do one. The UK Open or the Players' Championship, you cannot go wrong with either.
All I'm saying is there's no Pop World in Butlins. No further questions, Your Honour. Moving on to the Players' Championship draw.
Yeah, I'm not having that. I'm not having that. Sorry. Whenever we've got to move on, I'm not having that.
You don't need... Hang on. I adore Pop World, right? But you don't need a Pop World in Butlins because the entire venue is cheap. There's like 4 rooms of the crowd.
Correct. And also as well, you normally get an absolutely... We normally get an absolute belter of a tribute act as well, but that's another issue for another day.
Right, moving on. Players' Championship.
If Jacob Brook asked another question along this tone, he's gone.
Jacob's trying to get the B word out there tonight.
He who must not be named, Jacob. You should know this by now.
Right. let's run through the draw in bracket order. Peter Wright against Ryan Meikle, harsh draw for Meikle. This is about Adrian Lewis against Simon Whitlock, Ryan Cern against Dimitri Vandenberg, Daryl Gurney against Callum Ridd. I'm looking forward to that as well. Michael Smith against Boris Kirchmar, Gary Anderson against Keegan Brand. Interesting. Jose de Sousa against Mike De Decker. Vincent Bulldozer van der Voort against Dirk Teneckers. Nathan Aspinall against Scott Waite.
By the way, just say really quickly about Vincent. The big question is, would he want to bulldoze the Rico? Because I know he wants to bulldoze Minehead. So I don't know whether he want to bulldoze this one.
You name it, it's getting bulldozed in Vincent's. It's just steam through. Ross Smith against Kim Hybrecht. That could be quite tasty. Damon Hetta against Mike Covenhausen. Stephen Bunton against Ryan Murray. Christoph Ratajski needs a performance here, in my opinion, against Karol Sedlacek. Madas Razma against Chris Dobie. Intriguing. Dane Oppett against Steve Beaton. A lot on the line for both. Chizzy against Merv King. Absolute coin toss, but we'll have a look in more detail. Bottom half of the draw, the Iceman, Gadarin Price against John Henderson. Ricky Evans, Jamie Hughes. Matt Ward will be happy. Jermaine Watamina against Steve Lennon. Devon Peterson against Luke Humphreys. Ian White, Willie Portland, Gabriel Clements, Martijn Kleermaker. A repeat from the slam, Joe Cullen against Adam Hunt. Rob Cross against Jason Lowe. MVG against Darius Labanauskas. The Ferret against Mickey Mansell. Glenn Durran against Wayne Jones. Darren Webster in for Mensur Sulovic, who has a bereavement in the family, sending our best wishes to Mensur and his family. So Darren Webster comes in against Jeffrey DeJuan. The Machine, James Wade against Neil Zollivan. Then we have the Ober Genius, Dirk Divenboder against Willie O'Connor. Brendan Dolan, Luke Woodhouse, and the bottom of the draw, Ryan Joyce against Andy Bolton. Gentlemen, what an absolute lineup that is.
Some quality games.
Yes.
Absolutely belters. Can't wait for this.
Yeah, look.
Because normally,
instead of
obviously,
looking at
normally
the draw that,
yeah,
we'll
sorry.
put the schedule
Normally,
up so it's easier to digest.
Yeah, the thing is as well with the way that obviously normally works. Again, if you've never been to Minehead, then it is a bit of a difference. But particularly when it's just there for the players. Obviously, you've got the main massive arena that they have at the Sky Arena, and then you've got the little stage in stage 2, which is very circus tavern lakeside. There's that 2-tiered system in the crowd. It is probably one of my favourite rooms in darts, apart from the multi-ball room at the UK Open and the Emperor's Ballroom. But I like the fact as well that we've got 7 games on the main stage and 9 on stage 2. And I think even stage 2, to be fair, stage 2, that in the afternoon, there's some absolute belters on that stage.
Yeah, look, at Minehead, I like stage 2 because it reminds me of the tavern, low ceiling, close in. But yeah, look, just some absolute belters. And look, I know not everyone can play in the evening, but how is Adrian Lewis, Simon Whitlock in the afternoon?
Well, with that one, I think that's because it's a 4 o'clock start, maybe 4:15 start potentially in the afternoon stage. So people might just be getting back in from work, or they might be finishing work and then just switching the darts on. Obviously, in the UK, in terms of lockdown, so that might be the case. But that's all I think it might be. But what game would you bump from the main stage? Would you bump Jose against
right
Mike in the evening? Would you bump Mike?
That's easy. Right now, Gary Anderson.
Played again. Yeah, but Gary, you know this. You know this. I know this. Gary does ratings.
Yeah, but there's look. I think that game's got disaster written all over it. But in terms of the better game, no doubt Adrian Lewis against Simon Whitlock for me.
I don't disagree with you, but what I'm saying is that like AD Lewis against Simon Whitlock, yeah, it'd be a good game, and it's a good way to close out the main stage in the afternoon. But Gary does ratings, and that's the key. So because of that, he's going to be on the evening. That's just how it works.
But we'll start main stage in the afternoon. some tough ones here. Van Dyvenbode against Willie O'Connor. This could be anything because both of them, you just got no idea which one's going to turn up. If they both turn up, it'll be a belter, or they could both be average, or what it'll be 1-1, and then anything could happen.
Yeah, we're still waiting to see the Willie O'Connor of the World Cup from last year, really, aren't we? He looked like he was going to carry some good form, perhaps push on and start making a real go of this and a push towards top 32, maybe top 16, and that just hasn't materialised. Dirk has had a great year. He started brightly, started dropping off. We've spoken about him a lot. The Grand Prix was very, very good at, obviously. Absolute coin toss.
Yeah, 100%. We're not going to go through every game, ladies and gents. We will be here till God knows what time. But a couple of intriguing ones. Rob Cross, Jason Lowe intrigued me on the main stage.
Yes. I'll let Gob have this one because I know how much he loves Jason Lowe. But I do as well, to be fair, thinking about it. I think I honestly genuinely believe that this is a massive first round game. I genuinely believe that Lowe's got half a chance of beating Cross here.
He's got a great starting games here in Minor. Not so great to finish them off.
Yeah, look, I think a week ago yes. I'd have said it was closer, but there were signs at the Slam that it's the best I'd seen Rob throw in a long time. Although he lost the match, there was so many positives for Rob Cross at the Slam. The throw looked better. It was the darts were going above the treble, not below. And if he can carry that on, it should be a damn good game.
Look, we all know about the shorter format, don't we? End of the day, and more importantly than that, I honestly, genuinely believe that Jason Lowe is playing some of the best stuff on the Pro Tour this year. Rob Cross, we don't know what Rob Cross will be. You talked about the throw and all that sort of stuff, but we just don't know what Rob Cross is going to turn up with it. If we see a Rob Cross than we saw in the World Cup, then I reckon Jason Lowe beats him. I'll be brutally honest with you. If we see what's happened in the Slam and what we saw at the Euros, then I reckon that Rob Cross wins it. It's just complete. It all depends on what Rob Cross turns up. That's what I'm trying to get at here.
The next game intrigues me as well. Devin Peterson against Luke Humphreys. Now, I might be wrong here, but Devin hasn't looked himself in the last couple. The throw didn't look great in the early stages at the Grand Slam. There was a lot of darts going low and being pulled. Now, has he had enough time to rectify any issues, Gob, do we think, or not?
I don't know. When he got going and when he got into flow, he looked really good. The problem with me with Devin is he's a slow starter. He's becoming, well, that's my opinion of him at the minute. He's building a little bit of a reputation with me for starting slowly. If he can get out and establish himself in a game and build up, he's normally good value for money. But he is starting games very slowly, and in race 6, he can't afford to do that. Being said, Luke Humphreys has not had the greatest of years.
No, I agree.
I was expecting a little bit more from him, whether that is because of lack of playing from COVID or being World Youth Champion and wanting to really establish himself with that mantle on him. I don't really know. After the win against Gary in the Premier League, which Gary had chances, let's be honest, he hasn't really pushed on like I wanted to see. Because when he's in full flow, he's bloody brilliant to watch as well.
Yeah, agreed. Right. The main stage, Adrian Lewis, Simon Whitlock. Where are we going with this one, gentlemen?
I don't think it's this difficult to call, if you want me to be brutally honest. I don't think it's that difficult to call. Simon Whitlock wins this, and I think he wins it comfortably with the way that he's been playing. I don't see why. I don't see how Lewis at this moment in time. Lewis obviously looked a little bit fresher potentially in the Winter Series, but I just think Whitlock's on that much of a charge at this moment in time that I don't think this will be close. I think it'll be about 6-2, 6-3 if Whitlock performs the way he has been doing.
Gob?
don't know. It's another case of Giles can say no, he hasn't, but Lewis has not been getting nice fixtures for the last year or so. And every time you think he pops up and he needs a run and he looks like his action is on its way, he gets one of these absolute stinkers. I'm not saying his results are completely down to poor draws, Jarleth. Stop hiding like a toddler. But there are nicer draws out there. And Lewis never seems to get that nicer draw, is what I'm saying. He's an inverse Devon for me as well at the minute. He looks to be starting games really, really well. His action looks brilliant at the start of a game. You get to about leg 4 or leg 5, and he starts throwing the odd stray dart in there, and all of a sudden it breaks down worse than an Alfa Romeo after 6 months. Historically, the most unreliable car manufacturer in the world.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I'll give you that. Yeah, all right. Okay. I'll give you that.
I just saw some signs at the Winter Series that the Lewis action looked good. And when the Lewis action looks good, good things happen.
Yeah.
You say he hasn't been getting great draws, by the way, Gob. You say he hasn't been getting great draws. Is that right? Yeah? Yeah. So he had Whitlock in the European Championships last year, who wasn't anywhere near what he was playing. He had Jermaine Wattimino in the World Grand Prix last year. Okay, running to Glen Durrant. Yep, I'll give you that. That's absolutely fine. In the World Match Play. Okay, yep, cool. What else have we got? We've got the fourth round of the fourth round losing to Jason Lowe 10-4. You know, in the UK Open this year, didn't qualify. What did he get in the match play? Got to the quarterfinals, did he? Yep, he got to the quarterfinals of the match play. And who did he lose to? He lost to Dimitri van den Bergh. I'm sorry, but this not getting nice fixtures shite that you chat. Pardon, sorry?
The eventual winner?
What was that? Well, yeah, but on that basis
Dimitri,
of that game, would you expect Adrian Lewis to beat Dimitri van den Bergh? Would you not expect him to beat Dimitri van den Bergh? Yes. And if you were telling me otherwise, you'd be
4
lying.
years ago, yeah.
And in 2020, Dimitri van den Bergh was doing nothing. He just qualified just about the PDC Summer Series.
4 or 5 players in a row at an event that rank outside the top 64 and then walk to a title and suddenly be the old Adrian Lewis again. But he does seem to run into these stickier fixtures at times when there are easier draws out there, is what I'm saying. And what you don't need, he needs a run.
He's played Jermaine Wattimino, Jason Lowe, Simon Whitlock before he had this renaissance, and Dimitri van den Bergh. Dimi, yes, the 2-time World Youth Champion. Yes, he's done bits. He was doing bits at the match play, but he'd only just qualified. How could he have an easier draw? Like, I don't understand. These are games that you have to win if you want to be considered the old 80 again. I don't get it.
But you're forgetting Dimitri was
draws. Oh.
At the match play, you're forgetting Dimitri was fresh out of Severus Snape's defence against the Dark Arts class.
Oh, you're calling it? You're going down the Dark Arts, are you, Philip?
I just want to throw that one in there. Right, but anyway, before we
go
rattle off,
Dark Arts, I love it.
One word: Whitlock or Lewis? Jarleth.
Oh, Whitlock wins this comfortably, 6-2.
Gob. Jackpot. There we go. On to the main stage. Sorry, let's go to stage. No, forget that. We're going to stage 2. Brendan Dolan against Luke Woodhouse. I think Dolan too much what we saw in the Winter Series for Luke Woodhouse, if I'm being honest. I hope Luke plays well, but I thought Brendan looked really, really steady in the Winter Series. And that throw, when it's on, he's hard to beat. I'm just going to run through some of the other ones.
Promising this.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Bunting against Murray could be a really good game. Bunting against Murray, I'm really intrigued by, because Ryan Murray's been playing some really good stuff this year, and Bunting, he's got to find something he's going to try and get. Yeah, and Bunting's got to be careful.
He needs something here as well.
Well, yeah, but we haven't. But if Gob ever talks to me ever again about a bad draw for Ratajski, this is not a bad draw for Christoph Ratajski on TV. No, in all seriousness, though, right? This is a massive.
Nice one. He's got one. He's got a nice one.
All right, but I'll say this now though about Ratajski. This, like you say, this is the moment where he does have to produce something on TV, because you look at his record and you look at how much money he's got and all that sort of stuff. It ain't that much from the telly. So here's an opportunity then to push yourself right up into that top 10 mix potentially. 100 grand on this if you win it.
The game underneath it as well. Interesting to see how Clemens bounced back, because he fell off a cliff last week with literally lead tied around his ankles against Adam Hunt.
Don't disagree there.
Still not quite sure how it happened.
But he needs to bounce back and needs to find a performance. The rest of it, I'm going on the bottom. Daryl Gurney against Callum Ridds. Big game.
Huge game.
Big game for Super Chin.
Huge. He's already lost an absolute fortune in his ranking. He's lost a fortune in his ranking this year. This is the last title that he won, and he's obviously defending it now. This is massive for Gurney. Huge. But I'll be honest with you, and I know a few people have actually said this in the chat tonight. I reckon Ridds does him. But at this moment in time, Callum Ridds is playing super darts.
No, completely agree. Right, main stage in the evening. It's full of the big guns. They're all there. But without going through each and every one of them, I don't see, apart from Gary, don't see too much trouble for the big guns. Do we agree?
Before this week just gone, I would have put one more in trouble. But I think the way he played at the Slam means he's just starting to pick it up perhaps at the right time and show that bit of grit about him. And that's Nathan Aspinall. I don't think he's had a great year at all. But I think there were signs at the Slam, that, especially that win over Gezi, that he's still got something about him.
I think the big one for me is I think that's the one that I'm really intrigued by, because if Scott Waits can produce some of the stuff that he's been playing, I reckon Nathan could be in a bit of bother. I still reckon the Asp will get over the line, but Scott Waits is not going to give him an easy game. The rest of them, I don't see a big shock anywhere really. I'll be honest with you.
No, I agree. I think the big guns have it all their own way on the main stage. Friday night. Moving on, stage 2. What games leap out for you, Jar?
Jesus. There ain't a great game on there, I'll be brutally honest. The only one I think is interesting is Mard Rasmer against Chris Dovey. There ain't that too many greater games, I'll be honest, on stage 2. I think I'm looking forward to Mard Rasmer against Chris Dovey. That could be a really good game. This is a big game for Chris, because obviously Chris has got to really start making the jump and all that sort of stuff. I think, we'll see where we go from that. Mard Rasmer's been playing some super stuff. Obviously, made a final of the Autumn Series earlier on this year, and Chris has got, like I say, he's got to start making some moves. So that's probably the only game that really tickles my fancy. Maybe Ross against Kim, I don't know either, but I think it's going to be Mardas against Chris. It'll probably be my tie. Oh, sorry, did I just steal your thunder there?
No, you just got it right.
Go on.
To be fair,
go on, tell me why.
I'm interested.
Ross Smith, Kim Hybrex looks like an absolute belter. Ross's form this year has been superb. He's been a real threat. If he finds that first start in the treble, he is a bit of a first start merchant, but he's been superb. He's taken some big scalps. And Kim, since the World Cup, has looked like a completely different man. He looks refreshed. He looks like he's got the bit between his teeth, but he looks like he's out to go and win some games and start climbing back up the rankings.
I did the home tour on Monday, did comms, and Kim was playing, and he was hitting some big scores. He's scoring on point.
Of the day, the highest checkout of the day. He won the day. The only thing he didn't have was the checkout percentage.
Yeah, no, I agree. It was good to see Kim playing well again. Right.
And the game
You know
after,
what's coming now, gentlemen.
Heta versus Mike Kuvenhoven. That's another good one.
Gentlemen, you know what's coming now,
I
don't you?
think Hesse. Go on, my friend.
We're going to quarter it up, and we want semi-finalists, final, and winner, like always. You know how it works, gents. Come on, we do it all the time.
Wow.
We do it all the time, gentlemen. It's not a surprise.
Can we have a graphic of it in the corners?
All right. Well, I've got to be honest with you, and as this is a little secret to everybody else watching and listening, I've got the Wikipedia drawer up behind while I'm watching this as well, so I can know where I'm going. Okay, do you want me to go first then?
Yes, please.
Do you want to go first then on who I think gets through, Mr. Bars?
Go on then, over to you, semi-finalists. Please, Jarleth.
Okay. Well, do you know what? I'm going to start from the bottom up because I think it's easiest to start with the bottom up. Although Glenn against Michael Van Gerwen would be an amazing game in the third round, and I hope it happens. I really do. I still think that MVG is on a collision course and is going to be coming back. I think he will play. Do you know what? I'm going to go with Brendan Dolan in the quarterfinals. MVG plays, and I think MVG comes through that comfortably. So he's going to be in that bottom part of the draw. I think that, again, the bottom half of the draw is the bottom half, the third part of the draw is interesting. And I think Cullen will get through that, where he will play Gerwyn Price, and I reckon that Price does it. So my semi-final lineup there is going to be Gerwyn Price against Michael Van Gerwen. Yes, please, for a start off. First top half of the draw is going to be Peter Wright against Michael Smith. They'll get through that. Michael Smith will just about beat Gary Anderson in round 2 because it's the first to 11 legs. I think Jose will do bits, but I think Michael Smith will just want this. So I think it's going to be Peter Wright. By the way, Michael Smith, Gary Anderson, and Jose de Sousa in one part of the draw is going to be very interesting. And I think Michael Smith will play Peter Wright, and I reckon that Michael Smith beats Peter Wright. I'm going to go with Buddy Boy making that semi-final, where he plays someone. Is wide open this bit of the draw here. I mean, Nathan obviously is the number 4 seed, but I just don't see. I'm just trying to see if anybody else I think is going to do the business against Nathan. And I reckon there is one. In the quarterfinals, he plays the Polish Eagle, Krzysztof Ratajski, and he beats it. And Krzysztof Ratajski beats Nathan. So my semi-final lineup is Michael Smith against Krzysztof Ratajski and Gerwyn Price against Michael Van Gerwen. Why not? Why not?
Interesting. Mr. Garwood, your final 4, please.
I'm going to give you my quarterfinalists and work my way into the semi-finalists as Jar just did. Section 1 in the quarterfinals, Peter Wright beats Jose de Sousa. That loss for Bully Boy is a little bit too much for him, and he needs a bit longer to recover, I think. So I'm backing Jose to get through that one. In quarter number 2, I think Nathan Aspinall might fall early. I think Scott Waits and then the winner of Ross Smith or Kim Huybrechts are 2 tough encounters to start with, especially if he's then going to run into the man I think he is, which would be Damon Heta. So I have Damon Heta to play the Polish Eagle, and I have Ratajski making his first TV semi-final. Number 3, I think this one is a little bit more straightforward. You have to back Gerwyn Price. I've got him as a quarterfinalist, but I think the player that he beats to make the semi is intriguing. I'm going for Rob Cross. I saw enough of that throw to say that he has. Yeah. I saw enough of the action to suggest that the bad misses are becoming more minimal. They're not missing by. He's not doing it as often. They're not as frequent. And I think if he can start to build on that, the action's still there. He's bringing it back to the right place. It's just a confidence thing now. And can he add 3 or 4 points onto his average if he's going to go back and contend for titles? But I can see him sneaking out of that part of the draw. But Gezi Price does beat him in the quarters. And then the final quarter, Marco van Galen comes through the top half of it. I probably would fancy Dozer to have another crack at him as his record, but I just don't think that Dozer's had enough time to get right. I think this is all about getting his preparation right, being in the zone of playing professional darts and putting some practice hours in and around the event. But just make sure you're familiar with the surroundings, make sure you're fit and that you can do your preparation right, and then really building up for a crack at the World Championships. And then he's just looked too good to not be the other man in that quarterfinal. It has to be James Wade for me. But I think that is as far as James gets. I think Michael Van Gerwen beats James in that quarter. Just scoring power again.
Right. Section number 1. Oh. I'm going bold. I've got a feeling.
What a surprise.
Probably miles off.
What a surprise.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, Adrian Lewis gets to the quarterfinals, where
That's your first X straight away.
I missed that. I had internet issues.
AD Lewis, he says he's going to make the quarterfinals.
I think AD makes the quarterfinals.
You think he beats Snakebite in round 2?
Yeah. Did you not see Snakebite at the Grand Slam?
Yeah, but this is the 11th race to 11 legs. Oh yeah, sorry, he couldn't hit 3, could he?
Yeah, I was going to say. Look, I think Snakebite will use the World Championship darts. I think he'll go back to them. But I've just got a positive feeling about Adrian Lewis this weekend. So I'm going Adrian Lewis to get out of the top section. Section number 2, I agree. I think Krzysztof Ratajski will play Adrian Lewis in the semi-final. Bottom half, I think we all agree. Gerwyn Price. Gerwyn Price comes through section 3. I just don't. Dev's the only one, but by the time he plays Dev, it goes to the longer legs format, and I just think that Gezi gets his man, and the bottom half MVG. So I am going my 4 semi-finalists. Go on, mate.
No, I was just going to say really quickly. Joe's just put in the comment section in the chat room. Lewis ain't beating Whitlock. I agree with you there, and he certainly ain't beating right over the longer format. Just a quick one there to everybody. Just a reminder that the first 2 rounds are played over 11 legs. The next 2 rounds, so the third round of the quarterfinal played over 19, and then the semi-final of the finals played over best of 21. But sorry, Phil, what's your semi-final up again? Just so I get it right. So before I laugh.
So my point to that is Adrian Lewis doesn't need to beat Peter Wright over the longer format. So my semi-final lineup is Adrian Lewis against Krzysztof Ratajski and the Iceman Gerwyn Price against Michael Van Gerwen. Yes, please.
I'm looking forward to this. I'm really looking forward to that potential semi-final. That could be a barnstormer.
You know what's coming next, gentlemen? From there, who wins the Ladbrokes Players Championship before we get Tizzle on to join us for the pick of the betting action?
So I've got Michael Smith against Krzysztof Ratajski in my first semi-final, and I'm going to say that Bully Boy just comes through there. Only just.
You're putting him in another final.
Then it's Gerwyn Price against...
Stop doing it to the man.
I think you do it, mate. You know what? If you throw enough shit at a wall, it sometimes sticks. Right. Gerwyn Price against Michael Van Gerwen. This is tight. No, do you know what? I'm going to stick my neck out. Michael Van Gerwen comes through that semi-final in what could be a potential rematch in the World Championship final. We'll come on to that at another date and time. So my final is a rematch of the 2019 World Championship final, getting ready for the tour with them to defend £500,000 and £200,000 respectively. Michael Van Gerwen against Michael Smith, where Michael wins. Michael does.
Sorry, we won't take that as an answer. We'd like a surname, please, Jarleth.
Van Gerwen. He won the UK Open at Minehead, the last televised title before we obviously went into lockdown with fans. He's going to win what would have been this title at Minehead in Coventry this weekend, getting himself prepared for the Worlds. He's won it 4 out of the last 5 years. The only one where he didn't is obviously where he lost to Gurney in the final. He ain't going to do that this time. It's a second straight Ladbrokes Players Championship Finals win for Michael Van Gerwen. And yes, you say he's in no form. I disagree with you, with people in the comments section. The reason why I believe he's in a bit of form, he's thrown 6 ton-plus averages. Obviously, the back injury causing the problem there. He missed 8 match starts. Yeah, he did. It's what happens in sports. And do you know what? It happens in sport. He took out a 1-4-6 to go within a leg of the match at the end of the day, and he was barely challenged throughout his entire run in the Grand Slam bar Whitlock. Whitlock had to hit 20 maximums to keep up with him. It happens in sport. Rob Cross beat MVG in arguably the greatest game the Alexandra Palace has ever seen. MVG missed 6. MVG's missed match starts before when he's been playing better than this. It happens. Gerwyn Price had a chance to beat him at the UK Open final. He didn't take it because of some huge outshots. That is what Michael Van Gerwen does. And I think Michael Van Gerwen will. Look, I'm not the Michael Van Gerwen fan that we have over on the top half of our screen, Phill Bars. I'm not the Michael Van Gerwen fan that he is. I'm just thinking that this is the time, unfortunately. So Michael Van Gerwen will be the Players' Championship Finals winner. I don't want to be boring, but I am going to be boring. Thank you,
Mr. Garwood. Who wins from your predictions?
So, I have Peter Wright versus Christoph Ratajski in the first semi-final, and I think the world champion edges that one. I think we see Ratajski go deep, but I just don't think he's got enough for that one. And then I have Gerwyn Price versus Michael Van Gerwen in the second semi-final, and I think the Iceman does him. Not many people would have expected me to say that.
No.
Which sets up.
If Tizzles was here, if Tizzles was here earlier for a betting market on this show, that would be up there about 8-1 for you to give Gerwyn Price a chance of reaching the Ladbrokes Players Championship Finals.
It gets better. This gives us a preview of the World semi-final, I think, because of the seedings, in which Gerwyn Price wins the Ladbrokes Players Championship.
It's a good job I'm sat down.
That must be hard for you. That must be hard for you to say.
Very hard for me to say. But I think he wins it because it sets up the avenge the defeat in London in a month's time, and someone defends their title. Spoiler alert.
Oh,
right.
Wow.
Stop it now. Just stop it.
That is your worst nightmare, isn't
it? He defends.
It's your worst nightmare
after beating Price in the semi and Michael in the final.
Sod off. It happened 2 years in a row.
Right, anyway. Here we go. Top half. Semi-final number 1. Lewis against Ratajski. Lewis is back in a major final. Adrian Lewis beats Christoph Ratajski. Bottom half.
I'll have some of what you're on, Phil. I mean, I'd love to see it, but I will have some of whatever you're on.
I remember you two saying this when I called the ferret. I remember you two saying this when I called the ferret to go deep the other week. Bottom half. Michael Van Gerwen beats Gerwin Price in a last leg decider. So my final is a repeat of the game of the Winter Series for me. It will be Jackpot Adrian Lewis against Michael Van Gerwen. Where Michael Van Gerwen is the players' champion. Beats Jackpot in the final. For me.
Are you just deliberately? I thought about it. Are you just deliberately trying to give him an easy run to the Players' Championship Finals in terms of that final, an easier run than he could potentially have, just so you can make sure that he's the champion? Is that what we're doing?
Runs don't exist according to you.
Yeah, there's no easy runs.
There have been easy runs. There have been easy runs.
They've all qualified. They're the top 64 on the order of merit that have won their money across the year. They all deserve to be there. They're all fabulous players.
I thought for a second you were being serious then. I love it. I love it how it says, I've got a comment here saying, Phill, you always say MVG wins. Boring, it's bound to work sometimes. Mate, I'm not being funny. As I said to you before, if you throw enough shit at a wall, it sometimes sticks.
That'd be funny, Jack. He's the best player ever to pick up a dart. And he wins. If you don't like it, bore off.
Oh my God. Oh no. Oh no. Don't.
There you go.
Don't go down that road. Don't go down that road.
We've opened the floodgates. Gob's done it. He's opened up. Peter Wright's going to win the World Championship back to back. I've done this. We'll come on to it more in a second. But first of all, we've got someone joining the show.
Please.
What's the matter? What's the matter? What's the matter with you two? It's what we do here. We just say what we think.
I mean, I'm with you, but let's just not throw that debate out tonight. We've already got enough stuff to talk about. We've got the Premier League to talk about and our next guest.
Right. Moving on. We are going to invite Tizzle back to the show. If you don't know, Tiz, expert social media tipster on Facebook and Twitter, and he joins us to preview the betting angles. Tiz, mate, how you going?
Very well, cheers, guys. Enjoying the show. Phill, you've come up with some crazy remarks again tonight. Yeah, I've been nodding my head, disbelief for some of them. But yeah, I've known you for many years, and I know controversy is your thing. So yeah, I like it.
It's what we do. It's what we do.
Yeah. So yeah, obviously you've got me on the show there to talk about the championship, the betting odds. I'm going to start us off. I've picked out an accumulator again for the first round. You've all looked at the games yourselves there. I think you can all agree there's some really good ties in there. There's some that aren't there's a few in there that aren't maybe classics. But what I noticed going through the betting markets, there's some quite short odds favourites. So the winning markets, there's not much of an appeal there from a betting perspective for myself. There's a lot of 1 to 7 shots, anything between 1 to 7 to sort of 1 to 4. In an accumulator, that you're not interested in them sort of bets. So I've looked more towards the total amount of legs because I think there's going to be some tight games in there, a lot tighter than maybe some of the bookies actually believe that they're going to be. So for what I've picked out with, to start us off, I've gone with a 5-fold and it pays 9 to 2. And each selection that I've gone with is over 8.5 legs. So I'm not expecting to see anything below sort of a 6-2, 6-1. Sort of, yeah, I'm expecting to see nothing like a 6-2, a 6-1 scoreline. I'm thinking 6-3 and above for the following 5 games. So let me just get them up here. Right. So first up, AD Lewis versus Simon Whitlock. I think that's a good game. I think I expected to go to a distance that one, to be quite honest with you. We saw how Whitlock played this week. He's back scoring. He's feeling confident. We know with Whitlock at the moment, he can go to the next tournament and he can do absolutely nothing. But I'm hoping against Lewis this week. I'm hoping that we're going to see plenty more of the 180s. I think if that happens, I think Lewis is going to go toe-to-toe with him. I'm hoping there's going to be some big scoring games. And then it's just a case of who holds the nerves on the doubles, who gets through. But I'm expecting that game to go quite far. I don't know what you guys think of that one.
Like it. I agree.
Well, I've said that I think this would be a 6-2. I'll be brutally honest. I think Whitlock is playing some super stuff at this moment in time. So it could easily be a 6-3, but I've got Whitlock all day on this one. I think it will be a really good game. Really good game.
Yeah. No, I agree. I
like
think
it.
in the betting odds. Yeah. So next in then, we'll go straight in. Gary Anderson versus Keegan Brown. So the bookies have got Anderson favourite by an absolute mile at the moment. As we all know, there's a lot going on with Gary Anderson right now. Physically, I think he's feeling it. He's said it in a lot of his interviews right now, but it's affecting his game. It's going to affect his game. Keegan Brown is a tough opponent. If he turns up, he's more than capable of taking a good few legs off Gary here. I think it's not out of the question for him to take 3 or 4 legs off Gary, and he might even push him further. He could even take it 5-2 for Keegan Brown. Could be a potential value there. It obviously all depends on what Gary turns up and how physically fit he's feeling. But I think there's good scope for Keegan Brown to take at least 3 legs off Gary when the tournament starts on Friday. I don't know what you guys are saying there.
Agree. Well, I agree that I don't think this is as one-sided as what the bookies make out at all.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
Brilliant. Next in then. So Rob Cross, Jason Lowe. Now, you've just touched upon it there. Rob Cross, he is throwing better. Jason Lowe, though, I think there's potential there for him to really push him. He's been playing some all right darts of late. I think that is a game that could go the distance. Again, if Rob Cross turns up, I have no doubt he can wipe the floor with him. If he turns up and he hits his best darts, we know what can happen with Rob Cross. But I think at this stage, it'll take Rob Cross a couple of games maybe to start hitting his true form. I think early on, Lowe could take quite a few legs off him with Rob Cross still progressing.
I like that. I think he goes deep as well.
Yeah. So fourth in then, Joe Cullen, Adam Hunt. So Cullen, he has played some good darts this year. Maybe not the last few couple of months. Maybe there's been the last couple of tournaments where he's maybe not hit the heights that he could have done in some of the earlier games this season. I think Hunt could push him. Hunt's actually looked improved recently. I think that's another one that has got the potential to go quite far. I don't know if you guys want to chip in with anything there.
No, I agree that.
No, I like that.
I think
went into the Euros top seed and hasn't really delivered since.
Yeah, exactly. So it's been a month or so since we've seen probably the best of Cullen, I believe. Is it a month, maybe 3 weeks? So it's been a bit since we've seen the best of Cullen. I think Hunt is a tricky opponent, trickier than maybe the bookies are giving credit for, to be quite honest with you. So I think that's a good game. I think there's value there. Last one, I've gone for a guy that I'm loving at the moment, to be quite honest with you. Dimitri van den Bergh versus Ryan Searle. So Dimmy, his scoring's been exceptional recently. It has been exceptional, but Ryan Searle is a really tricky opponent. He's just he's a steady performer for me. I think he scores steadily, and I actually think he sometimes thrives off going against some of the bigger opponents and the big scorers. I don't feel like he's intimidated by big scorers. I see him go up against opponents in tournaments, and I see him still throwing 95-ton scores, and that's hard for anyone to beat. So it's very hard to break a man who can hit them sort of scores. If his doubles in, then we've got a great game there. I think Dimmy will progress, but I think Searle can give him a really good game, and that could be one of the best games potentially of the first round if that one lights up as I think it could do.
I like that. Yeah, Searle never gets bashed up either. Is the thing. He's always in and around. And I like the legs on there. Tiz really do.
Yeah, that's the logic I'm going with. So that's 5 selections there. It pays 9-2. I think he's got a good chance. It's one of them. I think it's looking at it. I just didn't see the value in anything to do with wins. There wasn't too many 180 markets out just yet, so I was kind of limited to choosing legs. But all them selections there to have at least 9 legs is 9-2.
Like that.
So next up,
tournament betting wise.
Tournament betting wise, I've changed my mind on this one a couple of times in the last few hours. I've done the same as what you guys have done. I've gone through each round, worked out who I think is going to be getting to the later stages. A lot of it comes down to the sections, obviously. When you're picking your bets, you've got to look at which is your tricky sections. You've got section 1, which has got some really, really tricky games in there. It's got some really tricky opponents. I think there is definitely favourable sections in there. But yeah, I was looking at Sousa. I really wanted to put Sousa in there, but he was 12-1. And I think as much as form is good, I think the side of a draw he's on, there is some calamitous ties for anyone that's in that side of a draw. So if I was going on that side, I wanted bigger odds, which is kind of where I've gone with it. So I'll go with the 3 selections that I've got. So I spoke about him a minute ago. It's that man, Dimitri van den Bergh. So he played exceptional darts. Yeah, he played exceptional darts in the last tournament. I can see, yeah. I think I've looked at this 25-1 on the exchange. Honestly, I think there's. I think there's.
Don't tempt me with this, Tiz. Don't tempt me with this, Tiz.
Yeah, I know it's 25-1. So let me just go through who he's actually going to potentially be facing. So looking at it here, right? First round, obviously we know Ryan Phill. So Phill's short odds, but he's not that short. Let's be honest. It's a trickier game than it's given credit for, but I still expect him to progress in round 1. Round 2, potentially Daryl Gurney or Callan Ritz. Again, I fully expect him to fly through that one. If he gets to round 2, I expect him to go through that. Round 3. Now this is where it obviously starts to get tricky because there's that side of a draw now where you've got Peter Wright, you've got Aidy Lewis, you've got Simon Whitlock. They're 3 tricky opponents. But I think out of all them players right now, Dimmy is the man carrying the form. I know Whitlock's obviously just got to he's just got to semi himself as well. But right now, out of them, if you had to pick someone who's had the best form over the last few months, last 6 months, I'd be saying Dimmy is the man. So I think round 3, I see no reason he can't come through that. Quarterfinals, Sousa, Anderson, Michael Smith. Anderson, I'd fancy Dimmy to beat Anderson right now. I think Dimmy is the man that's probably in the best shape. I think Anderson's got some work to do to even get to the quarterfinals at the moment. Sousa, he's going to be a tricky opponent, as we've seen. And Michael Smith on his day, we know exactly what he can do as well. He can hit the big scores. If Dimmy starts going toe-to-toe with Michael Smith on the scoring, then you've got an absolutely incredible game there. But I don't see any reason. Again, if Dimmy hits the heights that he can with his averages, then he's going to be tricky for anyone to come up against at the moment. And then, yeah, after that, obviously, you've got your semi-finals and your finals, which you're relying on the different sections of the draw to see how they pan out. But I think the route to the quarterfinal isn't. There's some tricky games in there, but I think they're all winnable for Dimmy in the form that he's in at the moment. I don't know what you guys are thinking there.
In terms of price, I agree.
You know me, I am possible.
Yeah.
No, I'll be honest. I'll be honest. You know me, I'm one of the biggest Dimitri van den Bergh fans out there, but it is such a tough run to the draw to a potential win of a tournament, and I just think, because of that, like I think Monday took it out of him a little bit. I want him to win everything, as we all know on this show, but I just cannot see how it happens, unfortunately. But you know, there are longer odds on there, and I'm really intrigued to hear who else you've got, mate.
Yeah, not a problem. So second in there, then I've gone for 2 more selections that are both pay 40-1. Now this one here, I mean, I don't know what you guys are thinking to this one. Chizzy, 40-1. If I look at his side of the, so section 2. I don't think section 2 is the worst. I don't think section 2 is the worst section, to be quite honest with you. I think it could be even the best section, to be honest with you. The run that he could potentially get. Agreed. I think round 1, I think Mervyn King, he's not a given by any means. Chizzy hits his score and he's very difficult to keep up with. He's, as we know on his day, he's up there with the very, very best scorers, if not the best. Sometimes 180 hits are out there. If he gets his eye in early does in this tournament and he manages to maintain the sort of standards that we know he can do when he's on it, then he's a lethal opponent for anyone. So Mervyn King, I'm suggesting he comes through that in round 1. Round 2, you're looking against Beaton or Noppert. So again, steady players there, some steady players. But if he starts scoring, I don't see them two being able to keep pace with Chizzy on that one. So next up then, round 3, Dobie or Ratajski. So this is where it's obviously getting tricky. We know what Ratajski's all about. He's a machine like himself. He's just going to go about his business. He's going to be very difficult to break, and he'll nick a leg here and there on your throw as well. If Chizzy starts throwing some of his better scoring again, though, I still worry, has Ratajski got the scoring power to keep up with Chizzy? Obviously, I need a bit of luck here with Chizzy. I need him to be hitting his doubles. That's obviously been a downside in his career a lot of the time. But having said that, he'll have argued the point. We saw it a month or two ago. He won a tournament when everyone was slamming him for his doubles. He said, that is me hitting my doubles. Everyone said I can't hit my doubles. And look what happens. When he hits the doubles, he's a capable tournament winner. So I don't see any reason why Chizzy at 40-1 can't do something. I mean, round 4, obviously, we know that Aspinall's in there. You got Bunting and Hector. I mean, I think Hector could be the one. I'd say between Hector and Aspinall right now. But I don't think Aspinall's thrown as well as he wants to be thrown. I think he's maybe struggling without the crowd. I think Hector is a dangerous opponent, to be honest, right now. I think a lot of people wouldn't fancy playing him. But I don't think that side of a draw. I think that section there it's not the worst section. And I think Chizzy's going to be looking at that and thinking, I've got a chance here. And I think at 40-1, I'm happy to put a small wager on him there.
I agree. I think that's the nicest section. And like you say, if you're going to back one of them, you back them early doors, because if they come through them, then the price gets slashed.
Yeah.
So, I agree with you. Chizzy at 40 is values from that section.
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely.
You guys having it?
Definitely.
Yeah, no, I like
that.
In terms of value, mate, which is what I look about, that's value.
Yeah.
I think
the
so.
last one,
Yeah.
There's an area of controversy. Yeah, there's an area of controversy on my last selection. If the circumstances were different, you'd look at price and you'd be thinking, wow, that's monumental. It's Duzza. So obviously we know the situation with COVID with him recently. He's obviously had to be quarantining. He's probably had a lot of mental toughness. He spoke about recently that he had to endure a couple of really bad weeks. But I'm hoping now he's come through all that. He comes into this tournament, hopefully a little bit fresh in a weird sort of way. He's had a bit of time to reflect on his darts. He's got his first couple of games, I think, are quite favourable, just to get his head back in the game where it needs to be. And if he can get that right, then I don't see any reason why he can't do something again in this tournament. So coming up, he's got Wayne Jones first. That's a favourable draw for me. I think he'll look at that and he'll go, do you know what? That's a nice introduction for me into this tournament. Second round is going to be between Jeffrey DeSwan and Darren Webster. Again, if Durrant's fighting fit, I don't see. I think he gets through that. I think he's such a difficult person to take legs off. He'll just do his business and he'll just basically battle his way to a victory there. Round 3. Now this is obviously where it's going to be tricky for him. So he's going to come up against either MVG or Clayton realistically. Now, MVG, I think Duzza on his game is a nightmare for MVG right now. We've seen it this season a few times already. MVG, he's a bogey player for MVG as Duzza. There's a stigma in MVG when it comes to Duzza. I think he's tried to get in his head a couple of times. Duzza's just not affected. I don't think Duzza believes in mind games. So I think if Duzza turns up, just throws his darts, and if Michael's head's already in some sort of I want to turn this into a personal battle, then I think that could be to the detriment of MVG. I think if he goes down that route, Duzza's just going to get up there. He's not even going to be looking at what MVG's probably said in his interviews. He's just going to go up there and try and throw his darts. So I think that's a potential banana skin for MVG there. Obviously, there's the other fact that Clayton could be the person to be in there. Clayton, again, a great performer, but I think if they're both on there, if they're both throwing their best darts, I think Duzza just edges it for me. So I think that's basically what I'm kind of relying on, is him getting through that third round. And then obviously we can get to the quarterfinals there, where the highest ranked opponent I think he could come up against is James Wade. So again, that's a tricky tie. That's the tie that could go a real sort of long distance, where they're both struggling to take games off each other. But I think, again, if he's on it, there's no reason Duzza can't beat James Wade. So I think I think he's got to come through that MVG potential battle, and then after that, with Wadey, not an easy tie, but I don't think again it's the hardest run to the quarters and the semis. Once you get to the semis, obviously, as you know, each way prices, you're pretty much there. So 40-1 to make that run to the semi-finals, and then you're looking at getting each way payouts on that at 1 to 5 odds. You've got an 8-1 minimum there. So I'm looking at it thinking, right, semi-finals, how realistic is it? I think 8-1 as a semi-final or a finalist. I think there's a good chance there he could do it. Obviously, if he goes all the way, 40-1, cash it. You know what I mean? Cash in my pocket. I'll take it.
No, agreed. I like
who's going to argue on
the thinking there.
Yeah, I can understand. I know someone's going to argue me on it. I can totally understand it because there's a lot about it that you've got to question because of the last month that he's actually had. But I think, given the fact that he's back now, if he just wants to play darts and put it behind him, that could be the best thing for him right now.
Look, it's 2020, and like you say, the favourites are too short.
Yeah.
That game between Duzza and MVG in the third round could be the game between Duzza and MVG in the third round could be absolutely spellbinding. I'm really looking forward to that, to be really honest. I think it could be a fantastic game, much like it is in the world match, much like it was in the world match play at a similar distance. Should be an absolute barnstormer. Yeah. Really excited for that if we get it. Obviously.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
I like that.
Should be a
like
classic.
that, Tiz. Like that, Matt. Well, Tiz, pleasure to have you on as always, mate. We really appreciate your time. If you don't follow him yet, head over to Twitter at Tiz Talks, one of the best in the business on social media. Tiz, pleasure, mate. Thank you very much for joining us as always, lad.
Pleasure again, lads. Cheers. I'll tune into the rest of the show. Nice one.
Right, that is the Players' Championships done. Big thank you to Tiz for that. Right, now we're going in.
Oh.
Two big ones.
P-word.
Two absolute belters. Get ready, people, in the comments. First one we are going to go with. We'll do it in order because it's the right thing to do. So, the PDC announced the World Championships is here. We have the dates. We are heading towards the Palace. How excited is everyone, not just us three, in the comments as well? How excited are we? The World is here. We can see it on the horizon now. We have the dates. We know the times.
Yeah. Look, it's exciting, but think about it. 16 days of this. Jesus, what? So how the bloody hell people are going to actually cope with us for this amount of time?
Look, I know.
They
It
want me
says
to have a day off. They let me know.
I know. It says Alexandra Palace. We're all waiting for Coco the Clown to make some announcements tomorrow on
Bojo the Clown.
On where cities are sitting in tier systems. However, there is a huge possibility that we could have fans back in the arena for the biggest show on Planet Darts. Come on to it. If London falls into tier 3, is it too late to move the World Championships to somewhere in tier 2, do we think? Could it happen, first of all?
I mean, there's no tickets sold. And the rig is currently in Coventry, so it's not as if it's difficult to move it anywhere within the country. I don't see why not. They'd have to make a decision pretty much tomorrow, and it would be bold of them to move it away, only for wherever they move it to suddenly increase in its tier within the next 2 to 3 weeks, like we saw in Nottingham when it first was announced that this tier system was going to be used.
I'm really intrigued, right, to see if the Marshall Arena is done with the snooker. Do we think it's there? Is it done?
The snooker on now.
Yeah, but
I
will
don't
the
know.
snooker be done
Don't ask me
in
where it is,
time to
though.
get the because if the snooker, because snooker is obviously at the Master Arena as it is, so if the snooker is done by the time the World Championships can start, and it obviously gives the production team a chance to get everything in and all that sort of stuff. If London falls into Tier 3, do not be surprised if the Marshall Arena becomes is rebranded as the new home of World Darts once more, because I think it's going to happen. There's no Barry. We all know Uncle Barry. First of all, we all know rule number 1 on this show. Secondly, more importantly, we know that he wants a crowd. We know that. And if it means that we've got to move it for a year from the Alexandra Palace, it will happen if London does fall into Tier 3. So,
Look,
because of that, I just don't know is the honest answer.
If anyone can,
But
Barry and Matt can, and I'll be so.
But I've just had a look. I think there is a snooker event happening on the 14th of December at the Master Arena, so that could rule it out. Yes, that could be ruled out.
And the other thing is just the busiest period for football as well, and I just don't see him doubling up with the potential of fans to return as well.
Well, yeah, because there's going to be fans in football stadiums as well. So, look, I just hope that London falls into Tier 2 and we can have fans back, because Barry has been championing this ever since we went into lockdown. But it was just the most magical announcement that the potential of fans at the World Championship is there. In the comments, guys, let us know how excited are all you guys for the World Championships. Look, it's the showpiece event. It's the one we all talk about. And it's the one Peter Wright will not defend. I mean...
wait. Let's see what happens for a kickoff. But no, but I should say, by the way, one of our great writers, actually, Brad, has one of our great writers, Brad, has just messaged us to say that the snooker final will be happening on the 6th of December there, and then obviously the Scottish Open happens on the 13th. So thank you very much indeed, Brad. Really do appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to obviously working with him on Friday for the first session of the UK of the Players' Championship finals. But the problem comes for Coventry is the fact that Coventry could easily be put into Tier 3. I mean, I only live 20 minutes down the road. So if we are in Coventry for the World Championships, that would be excellent. But I don't think we will be. I still think we'll be in London, and that'll be and there'll be some form of normality.
Yeah, look, I think that it'll either be Ali Pally behind closed doors if it's in Tier 3, or if there's a contingency plan for somewhere in Tier 2 just to get bodies in. It would be absolutely amazing. But when Sky showed that video montage of the Worlds, it just brought last year rushing back, because that was magical last year.
I think
absolutely.
I genuinely believe that last year's World Championship was probably the best on record. I really do. Like, I mean, 2018 was great. Obviously, with Rob Cross winning it in, again, like we say, arguably the greatest semi-final ever been played. Sorry, well, Wade Lewis obviously up there as well. Sorry, Gob. You know, 2019's World Championship, I didn't think there was that many surprises. I didn't think it was that great. I thought the 2020 one was just magical. 2020, as much as people, you know, may have got a bit bored with Fallon, or maybe a bit over the top with Fallon being hyped up on all the networks, you've got to admit that it transcended the dart. It transcended darts. It transcended sport, really. She was on everything. It gave a shot in the arm for a game that doesn't necessarily need it, but it got more eyes on the product. And Barry and Matt will have been absolutely happy. Of course they would be. But for us as darts fans, like I still remember that day after Fallon won. Everybody in my work, because this isn't my full-time job, unfortunately, but everybody that I was working with that day came up to me, because I was at Ali Pally the night of Fallon winning. Came up to me and went, "Oh my God, did you see that last night?" I went, "What?" "Fallon beating a bloke at the Worlds." I just thought,
Hi guys, everyone. If you can see me again live on YouTube, massive apologies. For some reason, the software crashed. So hold with us. I'm just going to get the lads back in now as we speak. So hold with us, everyone. For For some reason, the software just went. It's what happens. But we are working on it as we speak. To get them back in, boys. Ever so sorry, my fault. And are we all back? Can everyone hear us okay?
Yes. Can you
hear us? Yes, we can hear you all. For some reason, it just had a little meltdown. But we're back, everyone. You know, it's how we roll. It's all good. It's these little things happen every now and then.
I generally thought for a second it was. Gob's Wi-Fi.
No, we had a crash. Gob, if you can hear us, mute and unmute. Try that a second, whilst I just load up some more pictures.
Well, I'll tell you what, guys. I'll tell you what, actually, thinking about it, what we're trying to get... Tell you what, Phil, I'll try and take over for a second while we get ready for this. So, right, at this moment in time, where are we, everybody? Let's just go through some of the comments, obviously. Thank you so much for staying with us. Obviously, Phil is just getting Gob back and getting us back on track. If you're listening on the Still the Podcast, by the way, this won't be, obviously. It'll be edited purely, as we always do. Let's just go through some of the stuff. Jack's obviously said in the comments, 2008 Cross MVG was class, and Taylor reaching the final was some occasion. Absolutely spot on. I always remember driving home from London that night with my then girlfriend at the time, listening to it on the radio, just absolutely excellent. And obviously Taylor beating Jamie Lewis, obviously, and reached the final in his first final, in fact, actually, in his final ever game of darts. Phil, if it's behind closed doors, will we be allowed in to do the interviews, or will we carry on over the internet? The honest answer is, Jacob, we have got absolutely no idea. That is the takeaway that we've got this moment in time. So once we know, we'll obviously let you know. Salutation in the comments says we need a crowd. Darts without the crowds ain't the same. We totally agree with you with that. That is definitely one of those. Joe Willis is very excited whether his fans there or not. Yes, be superb with fans, but if not, then the worlds will be just as good. Absolutely, it makes Christmas, Joe. We are with you totally. Daz has said Peter's going to win the worlds. He's backing Gob as well at the same time. Gob, I don't know whether Gob can hear us now. I've got no idea.
I can hear you. So. Can you hear me?
Yes,
so we fixed it.
I can hear you. At the time. Happy days. I've managed to stall. Thank you, God, for that. Sorry, everybody, again. Jack has just mentioned the B word, though, which is never good.
No, because it's quite impressive, though, guys. After he tweeted it.
I tell you, it's quite impressive, guys. The fact we turned around a crash in a couple of minutes. I'm happy with that. We've done well there. However, we've put it off long.
I think the computer knew, because when we were talking about a venue, I started doing a little bit of research. Surrey was in tier 1.
Oh, hello.
So where's that then? So are we saying that it's going to be at Matchroom HQ?
Frimley Green, Jarleth. No, not Matchroom HQ. Frimley Green.
Oh, please excuse me. Please excuse me. Can you imagine? Can you imagine if
maybe the computer system realised I was about to bring it up and was like, no. But at the same time, it is a venue that can hold darts matches to a decent standard.
I can't see Barry doing it.
Used again.
In unprecedented times.
Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? If the Lakeside hosts one final World Championship?
Yes. Anyway, gentlemen, we've put it off long enough. You know what's coming now after the weekend. The P word is out. Premier League darts. Everyone's been talking about it in the comments. So, look, first of all, my gut is I think the Premier League will be moved slightly.
I agree with you.
However, we still need 10 players. So everyone in the YouTube comments right now, get your 10 players who you think will be in next year's Premier League. And we will
I'm just looking
come
for
up
the last
with-
list. It's got to be in this notebook somewhere.
Yeah, but things have changed since then. We've had different winners and everything like that.
Yeah, which is why I'm looking for that stupid if ranking isn't an issue 10 that I picked. I'm just going to regurgitate that one.
No, last time
we've got to do-
it was who would we?
one.
Yeah, the last time was who would we like. This is a genuinely right now who we think the 10 players will be. So get them
I've got
in
mine.
the comments.
I've got my 10, just written them down now. So I'll go first while the other two take the mic. Here we go. So it is Michael Van Gerwen, obviously. Peter Wright, Gerwin Price. Now I'm going off the basis that Rob Cross stays as world number 4. If he stays at world number 4, he's in. The tour card race at this moment in time suggests he's going to be world number 4, and it's going to be difficult for us to not put him in. So I'm going to go Rob Cross. I've just looked at the comments. Gob's going to be fuming. Next one is this. We've got Glenn Durran, obviously the defending champion. He's going to be in. There's no doubt about this. He will be in. I'm going to throw Nathan Aspinall in there, regardless of whether you think he's not had a great season or not. He hasn't, but he's the defending runner-up. There's no way they're going to allow a bloke on debut who made the Premier League final out. Obviously, the two major winners this year, Dimitri van den Bergh and Jose de Sousa. Then Gary Anderson will get picked for the Premier League. It's just a fact. It will happen. It will be alongside anything that you want. But Gary Anderson will be in the Premier League. That's my 9. And number 10 is a difficult one. A really, really difficult one. But at this moment in time, I'm going to say Buddy Boy sneaks in by the skin of his teeth at this moment in time. No James Wade. The comments that he made to you, I think Phill suggests to me that I don't think he wants to play in the Premier League. And I think he's not expecting a call on New Year's Day either. Chizzy, I just don't see how he gets back in the Prem. I don't think Ian White, Daryl Gurney's dropped off a cliff. I can't see him being in the Prem. And there's been obviously, and I think it's going to go to 10. It's going to go to 10. There's going to be no contenders, but that's my 10. MBG, Wright, Price, Cross, Duzza, Asp, Dimmy, Jose, Ando, Smith.
This is quite scary. I've got the same 10 as you, Jarleth.
We can't all be right, Phill, but the two of us can.
That's not the 10 that I'd pick, but that's the 10 that I think right now are in the box seat, unless someone wins the players and comes through like that. Right. I think, I think if someone can produce the goods and get into the top 4, I don't think Rob Cross will be in.
Not unless he wins a title this year. He could still win the players.
Do you see one of the big 3 not winning the Worlds? Do you see one of the big 3 not winning the Worlds?
No.
But what I'm saying is if Michael Smith can get to the final, but if Michael Smith gets to the final, he keeps his top 4 place.
Yes. And then it's a coin toss about who gets in that 10th spot, by the way.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying, Gob, is that it's all on Michael Smith whether he stays in the top 4 or not. Look, me personally, I would have Devon Peterson in there if it was because he ticks the Premier League boxes.
Yeah, but the problem is that he hasn't done anything on TV. We've not seen a run on him for doing anything on TV. We just haven't. He's had a great
Premier League's about
middle of the year, and but look, okay. In all honesty, we know that Wade ain't going to get picked. Okay, no matter whether people
But
want it and all that sort of stuff.
But that's my counter argument to what you just said about having run on TV. If it was about having runs on TV, James Wade would be in.
Of course, but I just don't see how Devon gets in at this moment in time. He ain't done enough.
Oh, that's I'm not saying that, but I'd have him in there because he's what the Premier League is about.
Here's the deal, then. Yeah, but here's the deal, though. If Ratajski gets to the Players' Championship final, or he wins it, or he gets to a World Semi, and wins, or a World Final potentially, then he's got to be in, surely. Like if Ratajski goes and wins the title,
I think a World Final, if he wins the Players, he's in.
Yeah,
I think he's
in.
in.
I'm saying, if he wins, if he wins this tournament, then I tell you what, Michael Smith better go and win a tournament or make a World Final again. Because if he doesn't, then he is in big trouble. If someone else other than the top three doesn't win.
Oh yeah, 100%. Have you got yours, Gob?
I have, but before I start, I have 10 comments on my screen right now because I can see them at the same time. Six of them are about one man. Stop it!
If we ever get through a show without the B word being mentioned, that is going to be a highlight in itself.
It's just never going to happen now.
You wait till he's back on tour next year.
Stuck with a miserable, head-shaking, fan letting down. Woe is me, man. Wait, my turn. Guaranteed 4. Guaranteed 4 is Peter Wright, MVG, Gerwin Price, and Rob Cross. I don't see the world title heading anywhere outside of the top 3. And I've seen enough from Cross to mean that second or third round, and he's pretty much comfortable of an attack from a runner-up or whatever from virtually anywhere else. Wild cards, I've got Glenn and I have Nathan. I have Dimi and I have Jose de Sousa. Tournament winners and runner-up and winner of this event. So for me, they're all nailed on. But unlike you two, I've decided to not make a decision in a fashion. And we keep saying we want the Premier League to be freshened up, and I think they up it to a 12-man.
No, will never happen. Will never happen, mate. You can rule that one out now. We won't. It won't happen.
Matt,
Sky won't have 6 games. Sky won't have 6 games a night.
They'll drop the format by 2 legs. Best of 10s, not 12.
Still won't happen.
It needs to be best of 10s.
Still won't happen.
I can promise you now, mate.
I'm not going to pick 2 of these.
I've got a better chance of winning the World Championship. I've got a better chance of winning the World Darts Championship than the Premier League ever going to 12.
So instead of a stupid answer, we'd like a name.
It's not a stupid answer. It's a great answer.
It is. It is a stupid answer.
Unfortunately, it's our rules, and that's not in the rules. So,
rule number 1.
Well, they're saying that I've only written 11 players. I've written someone's name down twice. So I've only got 11 anyway.
Good work.
Was you have Gary
in which case, no. He's the one of the 3 I'm about to leave out. Because he has to have surgery. And the fact he's pushing it off until after the World Championships, the recovery time and that sort of thing, I think he'll just want to get on with playing the Pro Tour. And to be honest, I don't envisage him having the strongest of World Championships, which means he's going to fall further. And to justify putting him in that form with the injury, when he's going to be coming back from surgery and falling that far, would be on the same level as Barney in his final year. And we all know my feelings on that one.
Have you made it clear, mate? I don't think you ever have.
Well, apparently not, because people keep bloody bringing him up.
To be fair, I think with Anderson, it will all be whether he wants to play or not. I think he'll get offered a wild card.
Yeah.
It's just whether he accepts it or not.
If that's the case, then that 10th spot, if for us, PB, if that's the case, then that 10th spot is wide open for potentially who gets it.
Yeah, 100%.
It is for you guys. I've filled it with Wade and Smith. I just think, despite him not ticking boxes, he's incredibly difficult to ignore after his run to the Slam final and his current world ranking. If he goes deep again, he's not saying he has to win it. But if he finds himself in the last 4 or the last 8 of this, he'll have gone back-to-back finals and then a last 8. Too difficult to ignore, in my opinion. Darts fans will want him there.
All I'm saying is for me, the only way James Wade gets in is if he wins something. And they have to put him in. Yeah. But other than that,
agreed.
I think it's almost like the Ian White situation a few years ago.
Yeah, but James has had a run. He's got back-to-back major finals.
It's not enough.
Yeah, Euros in the Grand Slam. You're all right. I tell you what, though, I honestly think, I tell you what I'm looking forward to have a look at. I want to see, though, if he does make a 3rd final. That would be interesting. Then I think you are finding it difficult to leave him out. I really do. I don't think he's going to get picked. Do you know what? I think I tell you who I think has got a real shout at getting picked to the way that he's playing. I think the Wizard. He's got half a chance.
Do you not?
He's done less. He's done less, and the Australian market isn't what we think it is.
But do you not remember a few years ago when they left James Wade out as world number 5?
Yeah. I just can't say that again this year.
Oh, I can.
There was too much competition that year. I just don't think that competition exists with top 16 players, and that's my issue. When they left James out, there was competition for top 16 players that had all earned themselves a chance. If people are earning themselves a chance this year, they're not in the top 16. We're looking further afield. It's going to be your Ratajski. It's going to be your Devon. Players that haven't established themselves yet.
I don't know.
I just think that he's so far down the order because of what the Premier League is.
Don't get me wrong, we all want to hear the boys back in town, but that boy ain't going to be back in town. Simple as plain as that.
Right. So let's go through some of the YouTube questions. The YouTube about Premier League. We'll come on to your questions in a minute. A lot of them, MVG, Wright, Price, Aspinall. To be fair, a lot of them are kind of agreeing with us. A lot of people watching are all kind of agreeing that I think 8/9 are all kind of the same.
I think it's an interesting question. I tell you what's interesting. I've looked through the comments there. People saying should the Premier League have a Premier League criteria? I don't disagree with them really. That way we know what the criteria is for the Premier League. We know what normally is. Well, I don't. Would it ever happen? No.
The minute you do that, you're tipping it to be a ranking event, and it's just way too heavily skewed for that.
No, but
the criteria, you can't leave people out.
Top 10. Yeah, well, yes. Look, I think. Look, would we want to see a potential Premier League criteria? Yes, for us, because that way then we know who's going to be in it rather than just playing a guessing game. However, at the same time, Phil's right. It means that the PDC can't just leave people out that they don't want in it. Look, that's neither is maybe. I think it's going to be really, really interesting this year because we obviously have got 2 new major winners that are going to be in it this year. We also have a major winner who's going to major in inverted brackets of Glenn with the Premier League. It can't be a major if it's not ranked. # what's a major? Look, it's a big tournament. Don't get me wrong, but it's not a major. Look, As well as that, we've got 2 players winning ranked events as well in terms of Dimi and Jose on telly. So we know they're going to be in it. Well, they should be in it. I don't see why they won't be. But then if Gary does pull out, say for instance, and Smith keeps his top 4 place, at this moment in time, who on earth is going to pick up that 10th spot? Because that really intrigues me. Whether they're going to go with Ratajski, whether they're going to go with Dev, whether they're going to go with Whitlock, whether, there are people there. You never know. We could see someone who just has an absolutely barnstormer of a world that just comes through from nowhere. Remember when Jamie Lewis made the semi-finals and people said she should be straight in the Premier League? Do you remember that?
Not happening.
No, I agree.
Tell you what
but
would be
do you
good.
remember that?
If Jackpot wins the Players' Championships.
No. I want I want Vinny to win it. If we're going to go from that far, I want Vincent van der Voort to win a title because I just
big
want
bulldozer
to see him
Vincent.
once. Please,
Big
can we
bulldozer
please take him
Vincent.
to the cowshed? Can we please take him to the cowshed? Oh my goodness!
But yeah, I still think the Premier League will be moved. It is the thing. I think the whole calendar will be. Look, there's massive light at the end of the tunnel in terms of fans and everything like that, which is amazing. So there's a reason that the 2021 calendar hasn't been released yet.
Agreed.
Yeah,
absolutely spot
on. And I think that at the start of the year we'll see Pro Tours and everything like that, and the TV events around May time. Look, the UK Open will still happen in its normal place and everything like that, but as in terms of normality, I genuinely hold out hope that the match play will be almost as normal. Really do.
Mate, it better be, because it'll be my birthday as it always is, and we're getting absolutely whatted on that Thursday night beforehand. we're gonna have an absolute party.
Right, just a couple of bits on YouTube here. People are asking about criteria and boxes, what we're talking about. Right, when we talk about ticking boxes for the Premier League, guys, it's not just about winning games, right? It's fans' favourite. You walk on, people singing along, dancing along. Right, I'm not saying this should have an effect, but it does. We all agreeing on this? Which is why people over the years have changed their walk-on songs to get the crowd involved and cheering them on and singing all the walk-on songs and everything like that. You have to be a big 180 hitter. They want the 180 cards up in the air, people singing and dancing along. You have to be a character. Fan interaction is huge. All these things being commercially viable is what the Premier League's about. Do we agree with this, guys, or am I going off on one ear?
I don't disagree with you. Not at all. I think you're right.
Which,
you're absolutely spot
on. Which is why when we say, look, Devon, yes, he hasn't won anything, but he ticks the Premier League boxes. He hits 180s for fun. People love his walk-on. He interacts with the crowd. They'll sing his name. It is the thing. Like, everyone talks about like how bad it was for Ted and that when they played Fallon last year. That's nothing. You want to go to Glasgow when someone plays Gary Anderson. That makes Fallon playing Ted look like a library, is the thing. The Premier League is all about bums on seats, the best night out ever, noise, fan interaction, and people just having a damn good night. That's the Premier League.
Just a quick one, by the way. We talk about the Premier League and all that sort of stuff. Just a quick one. Rach just put in the tweets about, the comments about Popwell potentially for 2021 in Blackpool. Well, that's obviously going to be a thing. We don't know whether it's going to be
standard, Rach.
We don't know if it's going to be on the we don't know if it's going to be the Thursday, but it's certainly going to be either Friday or Saturday night. Absolutely. Thursday, I think we might.
Or there's potential Thursday, Friday, Saturday. There's potential for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, Rach.
Thursday, I think we'll have a few drinks back at ours after the championships, after the match play quarterfinals. Friday and Saturday, absolutely, please.
Yeah, agreed about the high averages and stuff like that. Yeah, that's what it's all about, and that comes from hitting 180s, where James Wade will hit a big average once in a blue moon. He'll go berserk, hit 7 180s and average 106, 107. That's not James Wade's game, and that's why he gets let down. But that is our Premier League selection. Right, it's time. Right, we're going to go through the comments now, and any questions you want answered, we will do our best to answer, ladies and gentlemen. Again, we don't hide anything. We don't jerk anything. So, Jar, feel free to go through them as well. And
Not
in case we miss them. Go through them.
A lot of. Go on, mate. You go first. Go on.
As I say, Kryptonite A1, betting my sunglasses ready for Mace's shirt. I'll stand the Juno. Chris is going to have some Bobby Dazzlers there this weekend.
Absolutely right. We've got one here. Obviously, Jacob, who's one of the great interactions that we see. Do you think with them potentially moving the Prem, they will cancel the World Series, make space for it? I mean, it's a possibility. I think the World Series. Look, I don't think they're going to cancel it because this time around they want to go to New York and they want to go back to Australia. But I'm going to say if that's the case, they might move the Australian leg of the World Series a little bit earlier. I know you've had conversations with people in Oz, Phill, and they've not been talked about that. But I think that might have to happen.
Yeah, no, I spoke to some people over there that are in the know, and there's been no conversations as of yet of moving the World Series. So that's all I can say. Paul, I forgot to answer this earlier. Bradley Brooks to win the World Youth. I think Bradley's got a huge chance to win the World Youth.
Completely
of course, that happens this weekend. That happens this weekend in Minehead, in Coventry. After the two semi-finals, it will be Bradley Brooks against Joe Davis for the World Youth title. Huge opportunity for both young men. And for me, I think Bradley's TV experience and Pro Tour experience will just about get him over the line. Guys, do you agree?
Yeah, I do. He's had a good crack at a couple of stints on the Pro Tour. And like I said, his TV experience, I think, will edge him that one. He's got a really nice new shirt for the event as well. We put it on Twitter the other day.
Yeah.
Speaking of new shirt,
new
shirts, by the way, can we please appreciate Karol Sedlacek? Please. Karol Sedlacek's new shirt looks absolutely class. One here for Juanita McDade. So with the game upping of all players, you think we'll have another year of having different winners because it's been great? Look, I don't want to make any predictions about 2021 Juanita because let's be honest about it, who bloody knows what's going to happen. I think though that this could be the year, next year could be the year where we see the top three start a sort of a Federer, Murray, Djokovic dynasty. MVG, Wright and Price are just miles ahead of the field for me still. You have to play very well to beat them most of the time. So with the crowds back, I think we're going to see MVG, Wright and Price take their game to the next level. And it will be shared among those three, but we just don't know which three is going to do it.
That's sort of like off the back of that, Kryptonite A1, sort of the same thing. Do you think current conditions are contributing to seeing winners like Dimitri van den Bergh, Jose de Sousa? Yeah, no, look, I'm not saying they can't win without crowds.
Certainly believes that.
He does. If you haven't checked out the interview, it is on Online Darts TV. Yeah, look. I'm not saying that these players wouldn't have won without a crowd. However, I think it's easier for them to win without a crowd. And they're all amazing players. I'm not saying they're not, but when you've got people cheering, booing, it has a massive effect. Take the match play final, for example. If there is a crowd at the Winter Gardens, they are singing "Oh Gary Gary" from 6:30 to 10 o'clock at night, and they get Gary over the line, in my opinion.
And
yeah,
so and then also as well,
I also don't think
that
they allow his opponent to take his time the way that he did.
Yeah, so yeah, Kryptonite. I do think that it's helping, but they're all still really good players. Like Jose can play with the crowd. I've got no doubt about that whatsoever.
Also, as well, by the way, can we just say that Gary Anderson chants will be happening in the Winter Gardens from when people walk into the building to when they're outside the building to then inside Pop World next door. That's just how it works.
But which is ironic because he hates the place.
He does absolutely hate the Winter Gardens, really does. Dan Vernon is just in piping the World Championship qualifier. As far as I'm aware, yes, he will be. Big moment for Justin, obviously. So that's that one there. Daz has said, do you think they will have set play in the Masters and the Players Championship ITV event? So absolutely not. No.
No. Agreed. Dennis, the heat ovens for a wild card. Actually, I'm surprised no one's used the heat on walk-on song to you. It's a good walk-on song. I'll give you that. Do you think there will be crowds at Ali Pally from Owen? Look, I severely hope so, mate. And if anyone can, Barry and Matt will get people in there if it's physically possible, even if Barry's at a fire exit smuggling them through the back door.
Bojo walking in. Nothing to see here.
Yeah, nothing to see here.
Whitlock or Peterson for the last spot in the Premier League, says Rach. Who would they pick? That's a very big question. I would probably say Big Dev because I think it takes a little bit more boxes. Yeah, I think so. I think Dev would get through over them too.
This is a good one. I miss the rivalries. Yeah, I agree that. And again, I think the conditions don't play for rivalries either because you get fans that have got their favourites as well. So it's a bit like home and away fans at football as well. So look, I think once we're back to normal, I think we'll see these rivalries develop again.
I hope so.
Any news on Cabby returning? I spoke to him not so long ago. He still plans to come for Q School, but obviously there's no Q School dates and it's a little bit tricky getting out of Australia at the moment. They're hoping that that's going to be relaxed in the beginning of January because there's talk of the Australian Open tennis being moved by a week or 10 days, if I believe.
Yeah, they are, yeah.
Because of this. But no, as far as Corey, still plans to come back in January for Q School, mate. Joe, who would you have picked to have a surprise run at the Worlds? Good question.
If I say no, it won't be a surprise.
Yes, good point.
Oh,
we don't know the draw yet.
You bar humbug.
Mervyn King
as well. Sorry?
Mervyn King.
Are you
It
sure?
would be a surprise.
Callum
Ritz.
Not surprised. Do you know what? Sod it. King Barry. Why not?
Like that, Mike. Does anyone know how many come through the PDAPA qualifier? No is the honest answer, mate. And I don't think they do yet either.
We haven't been told anything.
No, there's been no information.
I think we're waiting on the remaining qualifiers, aren't we? Japan qualifier got underway this morning, I believe. The Chinese one ran last week. We're still waiting on the other two from Asia, which is Philippines and Singapore, maybe.
I think so, something like that. Yeah.
Did you hear the news about speaking of qualifiers? Though, did you hear the news obviously this week on RTL about the B word? You think he said he can't get into the Worlds, can he?
Does he not go? Can he not go to the qualifier?
I don't think he's going to be.
They changed it
as far as he said on TV.
I don't think there's going to be a qualifier.
Because of everything that's gone on.
A surprise run for the B word.
No, from Daz, is Matt Edgar in the World Championship qualifiers? I would imagine so. I believe he said on his YouTube channel that he will be attending the World Championship qualifiers because he needs to save his tour card. So yes, prime time will be there.
I think, to be fair, PB, I think this is it. I think we've got to wrap it up because we've been on now for 2 hours and we've probably bored people enough to tears at this moment.
Christ, yes.
We've been on it for 2 hours.
To be fair, I didn't even look at the clock. No, I didn't even look at the clock in fairness. Yeah, 2 hours. Wow. I didn't realise that. Everyone that has joined us for these 2 hours, thank you very, very much. Time flies when you are having fun. It's been absolutely amazing. The Live Lounge will be back. When do we say?
I think we're going to go Monday,
Monday?
No, it's me, Jarleth the planner.
Yeah, Live Lounge will be back. Live Lounge will be back Monday as normal. because we can get a little bit of normality back now.
Ben, the big question.
No, Martin Thompson, time does not fly when we chat about him.
A big question that we want from socials, which we'll put out on socials. And you can probably do this in the YouTube comments quickly while we wrap this up. Do we want a separate show about the reaction to the World Championship draw, or do we want a full 2.5-3 hour preview of the World Championships Monday, the 6th of, maybe a bit later on next week, maybe the 8th of December, something like that on a Wednesday night, where we can get a load of people involved. Let us know. And let us know and see what you think, because we could get the initial reaction, but then we'll have a full preview, obviously, of the World, probably Wednesday, Thursday, week commencing the 6th of December, so maybe about the 8th or 9th of December, we'll probably get a live lounge on there for everybody. Happy birthday, by the way, Kieran, for Tuesday, so I presume that's tomorrow, next week. So yes, we will wish you happy birthday, obviously, again next week. Happy birthday for then as well, pal.
So, yes, that is the live lounge here for Wednesday, the 25th of November. Like I said, thank you very much from us all. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Online Darts TV. Subscribe, turn notifications on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We are on every platform, and these guys don't know it yet, but I'll drop you all a little hint now. There may be an Online Darts TikTok coming. We'll keep you posted on that. But anyway, gentlemen, it's been an absolute pleasure.
A bit more.
It's been an absolute pleasure. I've been Phill Bars, and of course, Jack Jobby Guy with Jarleth and Gentlemen, thank you very much for your time as always. We will see you Monday for the live lounge, but of course, we will be back for the Players' Championship Friday, 12 o'clock. We'll see you all there.